Hey, what's good? It's me, Joseph McClendon III, and I'm super excited today. And I mean today because I'm outside, as you can see, enjoying this amazing weather. But I get to share with you something that is very near and dear to my heart because it's something that was introduced to me as a child. And it has served me my entire life, and now I want to pass it on to you, if you will. And it'll serve you. I won't say, I hope it will. It will. When you use it and you do what I tell you to do, it will. And again, it's not going to be just advice. I'm going to give you something that you can do to instill this in your life. And it is something that you've heard me say this before, that I don't teach theory. And what I mean by that is I don't teach something that I haven't done in practice and gotten results for myself, but also helped other people do it for themselves as well. And in this case, one of the things that is great about this particular subject that we're going to talk about today is that you get to use it and you get to become more, if you will. But my hope for you is that you'll pass it on to other people, even if it's just by your example. And so today I'm going to talk about the first of what I call the 5 pillars of magnificence, to have a magnificent life. And the great part about it is, again, this is going to help you go further, faster in your endeavors to become more wealthy, if you will. Wealthy means healthy, happy, and financially abundant, but also become a better person, to be the best you. We hear a lot about that, but how do we do that? And so the first pillar is the most important, and it's there for a reason. And the first pillar is called integrity. Now, when I say that, and first off, I want you to write these things down, because you're going to be amazed. If you haven't already started doing this, if you've been hanging around me for a while, you know that what I say is, my saying is, what you write is what you invite, and what you don't, you won't. And so physically write this down: integrity. And there's a lot of meanings out there, a whole lot of meanings out there. You know, you hear about integrity, and I want to know, what it means to you. You can leave it in the comments or whatever. What does integrity mean to you when you hear it? Because when you look it up, it says, and none of these things, I'm not throwing shade on anybody or any of these other explanations or definitions, because they're all real, and there's value in them, but I want to give you something that you can use as in terms of a tool to grow you and go further, faster as well. So when you look it up, you hear things about integrity means strength, the integral strength of something. A piece of steel has great integrity, or integrity means truthfulness, and that's all those things are great. Again, I want to give you my definition, so that not only we're on the same page, but you can use it. And so in this case, I want you to write down: integrity equals doing what you say you're going to do. Doing what you say you're going to do. Because now it brings it personal. It brings it into you. And as you can see, having more of this type of integrity will grow you as a human being and grow everything around you as well. Now, my dad taught this to me many years ago when I was just a kid. And he used to always say, listen, your word is your bond. And what that means is that when you say you're going to do something, do it. And there's 2 types of integrity. There's inner integrity and there's outer integrity. Inner integrity means the things that you say to yourself, the things that you tell yourself you're going to do, the promises that you make to yourself. I'm going to do this, or I'm not going to do this. Though that's inner integrity. And what that means is that those conversations that we have with ourselves are really important, that you take notice. Now, the place to start with this, I'm going to talk about inner integrity first, because it is quite honestly the most important. Because your inner integrity will give you that impetus to have outer integrity as well, which I'll share with you in just a moment. And inner integrity means your rituals, your promises that you make to yourself, small and large. And I'm going to tell you, the best way to follow through on something is to, number one, you've heard this before, and that is awareness is always the first step. Awareness is always the first step. You don't know what to change or how to change something unless you're aware of what you're doing. Now, when we hear that, people go, okay, yeah, I know I need to change this. I know I need to fix this. I know I don't follow through on all those things. And that's great. But how does that make you feel? And remember, back to the basics, as we think, it makes us feel a certain way. And how we feel will determine what we do. And in this case, it's critical, because integrity is doing something, right? And so if you are aware of the things, the times that you've said you're going to do something and you didn't do it, how does that make you feel? Makes you feel like a schmuck, makes you feel like, you're not necessarily a good person, or you're not trustworthy even to yourself, that kind of thing, or all the stuff that comes in. And when you feel that way, then guess what? You probably will not follow through. And it doesn't give you that drive or that pull to go to the next and do something else. So instead, here's what I want you to do. And this is going to be part of the exercise for both of these. And that is this: be aware of how integrous you already are. The things that you do, the things that you already do that you say you're going to do. And all of those things, and things that you don't even remember. So you're going to make a list. I'll go over this a little bit later in terms of your exercise, if you will, because I always give you something that you can do. But be aware of the things that you already do, because you're already amazing. You're already magnificent. Remember, magnificence means to magnify the essence of who you already are. And you wouldn't be where you are right now, listening to me, watching me, if you hadn't already done many, many more things that you said you were going to do than you didn't. You brush your teeth every day. And again, I'm going to get that in here in a second. So inner integrity are the promises, or the things that we make to ourselves. When we make them, how we make it, what we say we're going to do, when we say they're going to be done, and how we feel when I'm going to give a little bit away, when we finish doing them. And this is critical to help you go further, faster. That's inner integrity. And so think about it. What are the promises that you make to yourself? Not the ones that you like, New Year's resolutions and things like that I'm going to do this, but your daily rituals, your daily things that you do to yourself. This is what's going to give you that pull, that carrot on the stick. The second is what we call outer integrity. And that is what you tell other people, what you express to other people that you're going to do, that you're going to follow through on, that you're going to make happen. What do you say? And do you tell people you're going to do something and then, flake on them? There's a lot of flakes out there. You tell people you're going to do something, or worse yet, do you not tell something and don't tell somebody something that they need to hear that you're going to do for them? Okay? And that's the outer integrity. And this is really, really important as well, because listen, people say, listen, you shouldn't care about what other people think, care less about what other people, you just do your thing. That's not true. That's not the way human beings are built. You're actually built to be a social creature, meaning to have people around you. And so I always say, yes, care about other people and care about what others might think, not to the point that it hinders you from doing something, but assume that your good deeds and the things that you do are going to cause them to think a certain way, if you will. Now, are they going to? No, I don't know, not necessarily, but I'll tell you what, if you're a jerk, they're going to think you're a jerk. But if you're a good person, then they're going to think you're a good person. And in terms of outer integrity, if you tell somebody you're going to do something, you say, I'm going to be there at 5 o'clock, and you show up at 5 minutes to 5, listen, they're going to think something. There's an occasional person that just says, oh, this person's a, goody two-shoes, or, blah, blah, blah. But most people are going to think, okay, and they're going to feel a certain way. They're going to go, wow, this person is on time. And guess what's going to happen? It's going to make them feel better about themselves, and it's going to make them feel better about you, because it's going to give them something that's possible. They're going to have a possibility of a good person and an integrous person. What do you tell people? What have you told people in the past that you said you were going to do, that you followed through? That's outer integrity. Now, both of them are critical, both of them are important, but the very first one is the most important, what you say to yourself. So I'm going to share with you something to do. I started talking about it just a second ago, but I'm going to give you somewhat of an exercise. And let me explain to you the logic behind it and the mechanics behind it, so that you know why it works on your brain. When we acknowledge that something is positive, when we acknowledge that we've done something, it's like success is built on success. You don't get to the next step without pushing off of the previous step. You don't go to the next rung in the ladder without pushing off of the previous rung. You didn't get up and start running right away. You got up and walked, and when you got up, and even when you fell over, you went, hey, I at least stood up. And so from that, it gives your brain evidence that you're a badass. It gives your brain, remember, your thoughts, evidence that you can do something already. And if you believe that you can do something already, then guess what? You'll believe that you can do more. Now, it's not direct, it doesn't have to be that exact same thing. You may have never water skied before. You may have never written a book before. There's always a first time for everything. But the feeling that you get when you go into it is based on all of your other successes in the past. And so the first thing I want you to do, and you're going to do this just for like 5 minutes a day for the next 5 days, is you're going to write down any and everything that you can remember in your whole life and that you said you were going to do and you did. You said it was to yourself. You said that you're going to get up early this day. And by the way, it's not in any chronological order, and it doesn't have to be the great things. It can be the small things. You know, a long time ago, you said that you were going to brush your teeth every day. You unconsciously said you're going to brush your teeth, and you get up and brush your teeth every day. I know that sounds simple, that's crazy, but all the things you do. You said you're going to get a job, you got this job. You said you're going to get a car, you got this car. You said you're going to get a puppy, you know, all those things. You said you were going to do these things, and you did them. And it's as simple as looking at, just walk through your house and walk through your environment and the things that are around in you, and walk around and look at the things that you have already accomplished and go, I did this because I said I was going to do this. Then as you write it down. Now what's happening is in your brain, you're starting to create what was called new neuro associations. What does that mean? Your brain works on electrical impulse. But your nerves inside your brain, now this is sort of metaphorical, but it's real. Their nerves inside your brain are like the wires in your computer or the circuit board in your computer, and they carry, you know, this signal to this side of the brain and this signal to the other side of the brain. And what happens is when you remember, the remembering process is reconnecting those things. And every time you do that, remember me, dopamine release, and your brain goes, what just happened? Let me just do it again. And so when you're thinking of things and you're writing this down, and you're starting to go, I'm aware of that. Oh, I did that. Then your brain is going, it's getting stronger. You're actually creating those, you're actually remembering. Dismember means to take apart. Remember means to put back together. Your brain is going, yeah, I am a badass. And listen, you are a badass. And I'm not saying that just to, you know, to hype or anything like that. You truly are. I mean, you always have been since you were born. You're a badass. You follow through. There's a helicopter flying overhead, so maybe I should talk a little bit louder. The perils of working outside. And so you already are a badass, and so your nervous system needs to remember that you're a badass. Remember, your brain is actually growing. But here's the greatest part about it, as far as I'm concerned, is while you're doing the exercise, yes, you're creating those new neuro associations. Two great things. Number one is, guess what you're not thinking of when you're thinking of what you want? You're not thinking about any failures. You're not thinking about the things that you've done wrong or you didn't follow through on. And then the second thing is as you're doing this, even when you stop, because it's only for 5 minutes, even when you stop, your brain keeps on remembering. Your brain keeps on working on it unconsciously. And what happens is this becomes who you are. And you start to get this feeling of integrity about yourself. You get it? It's a loop. It's a cybernetic loop. And you get this feeling of integrity about yourself. And then guess what? Because you have that feeling, guess what you're going to do? You're going to perform, and you're going to do more than you did in the past. And it becomes who you are, and you become a better person. Really cool, yeah? So that's the first thing. Be aware of the things that you've already done. Secondly, obviously, make a list of the things that you said you were going to do for other people, with other people. You said you were going to show up a certain time, all these things that you were successful at. Notice I didn't say we're not working on the things that you didn't do. You probably already spent too much time on that already. Most people do. Most people spend more time on the things that are negative and the things that they're worried about and the things that they didn't follow through on, and it makes them feel bad, and blah, blah, blah. The list goes on, and you know, the writing is on the wall the way that it works out. So this way, you're going to write down everything that you've ever said to anybody, and again, just go through your life, you know, your entire life. You're not going to remember everything, but you're going to remember some things. And by the way, one of the great parts about it is as you start doing this, you're going to remember some things when you're driving your car. You're not even from this, because it's only 5 minutes, yeah? And you're going to go, oh yeah, I did this. Oh yeah, I said I'm going to go pick my son up at school, and I'm doing it right now. You know, I said I was going to make dinner. I said I was going to do this. I said I was going to go on this date. I said I was going to do that. And you start to believe that about yourself. See how this makes you a better person as well? Not only makes you a better person, but it also makes you more and more integrous as you do this. Really, really simple. Now, the critical thing about this exercise that makes it go deep inside your nervous system and make it who you are is the thing that you do once you've done that. Once you've written it down, every single time. And every single time you remember that you're a badass. You pat yourself on the back. You got to praise yourself. You got to give yourself credit and go, yes, I am. You know, I was talking to my cousin the other day, and I gave him, you know, an exercise similar to this. And I said, you know, I want you to go to the mirror and look yourself in the eyes and tell yourself, I love you. And he did it, and he sent me a text a couple days ago, and he said, I never realized how hard it was for me to tell myself I love myself. And so you may run into some of this as well when you praise yourself, but you got to do it. Because you're the one that makes the biggest difference. No matter where you go, there you are. And guess who shows up every single time? You. And so the person that you need to hear it from the most is you. And even though it might not feel right, it might not feel good, it might feel counterintuitive in the very beginning, the more you do it, the better you get at it. Remember, human physics. The more you do something, the better you get at it. And what happens is this. You start to believe it. Listen, you can make yourself believe anything. You've probably made yourself believe a bunch of crap that wasn't true already. I know I did. But you can make yourself believe anything just through repetition alone. So the repetition of patting yourself on the back, shaking that ass, putting a smile on your face, doing anything that makes you go, ah, because every time you do that, the mechanics of it, dopamine release, your brain goes, what just happened? Let's do it again. And then you start to do it automatically. So you got to praise yourself at the end of it. 5 minutes each day. 5 minutes. I want you to write down everything that you've said you were going to do and you did. That's integrity. And then within, you can do 3 minutes each or 2.5 minutes each. And then I want you to write down, do 5 minutes each. 10 minutes a day for 5 days. Come on. I mean, that's going to grow you. This is something, and when you get the other 4, it's going to blow you away. Write down everything that you've ever said you were going to do and you did. And then praise yourself. And then 5 minutes, write down everything you ever said that you were going to do to somebody else, a promise that you made, something you said you were going to do, and you did, and then praise yourself. And then that's it. And at the end of that week, what you're going to start to notice is that you feel much better about going forward. You're going to find yourself doing more things and noticing and recognizing that when you are brushing your teeth, you go, I brush my teeth every day. This is something I've already done. This is a ritual with me. And then what will happen is when you start to make those other promises to do something, you'll have more integrity about it, and you'll mean it, and you'll follow through a whole lot more. Now listen, this that I've shared with you is, like I said, one of the 5 pillars of magnificence. And I outlined them in a book, and my book is called Dare to be Magnificent. And if you follow the link, I have a free book for you. There's exercises in there as well. Because remember, the whole thing is about let's grow as people. And let's grow as people for ourselves and for the people that we love, but the example we'll set for other people as well. So click on the link, get the book. It's my gift to you. It's got some amazing stuff in it. And remember this. And then also, please, if you've enjoyed this, please like and subscribe and hit that notification button, hit that bell so you hear any other videos that we've got for you as well. And then lastly, I'm going to say this. You know how I always say this, that life is always exactly what you dare to make it. And fortune, whatever you call fortune, but fortune favors the bold. It favors those that boldly do something. And boldness doesn't always have to be this, standing on a mountain, pounding your chest kind of thing. Boldness means just doing something that other people don't. Doing something that's uncomfortable, that you do it anyway and you get a result. Doing something that you don't necessarily want to do, but you know it's going to be better for you. So the trick to life is to boldly step up and dare to make your life magnificent. I look forward to serving you, and I'll see you at the top.